Hello Booktube, hello friends, welcome to Lizzie Faye Loves Books. I'm Elizabeth, and it is time to do my April reading wrap-up. I had a fantastic reading month for April. I accomplished something from almost all of my monthly reading goals, and I'm really happy about everything that I was able to accomplish, and I got a lot of videos done this month. In fact, this past week, let me just kind of apologize. Literally in the last few days, I've been doing a video every day, and yesterday I did 2 videos. I didn't set out to do 2. It just kind of morphed into that. But I am going to take the next couple of days off, so you won't see another video from me for at least 2 or 3 days. And that way, if you have noticed a video that I posted earlier in the week and you haven't had a chance to watch it, you got a couple of days to catch up. So thank you so much, all of you who faithfully watch my channel, or even if you unfaithfully watch my channel and you just pop in every once in a while. I appreciate it so much. Thank you very much for your support. And for the comments. I love to chat with you in the comments. So I read a total of 25 books in the month of April. 20 of them were audio and 5 of them were print, which is kind of heavy for me. I don't always read that many print books. And if you haven't been following me for a while, you may be surprised to know that one of the print books I finished in the past 90 days, I have just finished reading the entire Bible, and it was only by the grace of God. I could not have done it on my own, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that. In fact, I will probably just post a whole video about my experiences of reading the Bible in 90 days, what that was like, and where I'll go from here, and all of that. So, just to give you a little summary of my reading totals for the month, 25 books, 20 were audio, 5 were print, and of the 5 print books, 3 of them were either the Bible or devotional books, and I had started them previous to this month. There were only 2 books that I read in their entirety in the month of April. One of those was my Booktube spin book from round 1, finally. You're supposed to read those like in the next 2 months after the spin is picked. I made a conscious decision not to, because what my book was just didn't fit with Historathon or March Mystery Madness, and I just needed to wait until April. And I did, and I just got it finished last night. Well, technically, I read the last 2 chapters this morning, but I'm still counting it because I was so close to the end, and I was just nodding off. I was getting sleepy, and I skimmed through to the end so that I could say, okay, I got to the end, count it for today, yesterday. And I went back and read it more carefully this morning, got it done, and I'm good with that. I do that almost every month anyway, so it's fine. So then, for the Amish and April Readathon, I didn't do a separate Readathon wrap-up because I had already said that I was going to read Amish books all month, and I did. I finished one last night, the last audiobook, and it was great. So that made a total of 13 Amish books for the month, plus one that I read because of Amish in April, although it wasn't technically an Amish book. It was a women's contemporary fiction, but I'll tell you about it later. But the reason I read it was because of Amish in April. And then for my regular monthly reading projects, for my author binge project, I did binge 2 different authors. One of them was not the original one that I said. One was Beverly Lewis, and the other was Amanda Flower. It originally was going to be Beverly Lewis and Wanda Brunstetter, but it didn't end up getting to any Wanda Brunstetter books. I have a few here, and I just didn't get to them. So that's fine. They'll be there, or they'll be on the regular shelf. For this month, I have had my Amish-themed books here. That's not supposed to be there. That's my book club bookmark. So I've had my Amish books here because I was, that was the theme of the month. But these will go back to their regular spot, and I will put my Jan Karen books and my other favorites. I may rework this shelf a little bit, or this one. I can't even remember how I had them. I'll have to go back and look at some old videos to see exactly what was here. They're all stacked down here in front of me. But I may do a little bit of rearranging. But as of after this video, the Amish books will go back to their regular spot. So then, for my middle grade / YA trilogy project, the goal is to finish 12 trilogies that I had only read the first one of prior to this year. So I wanted to read the last 2 books in 12 different trilogies. And I had started 2 different trilogies earlier in the year. I still needed to read 1 more, so I did finish those. And I read the middle book for another trilogy. So I read 3 books that are part of that project. I did finish one series for my Get Serious About Series challenge, and then I made progress in 4 other series that I had previously started for a total of 8 books from those 4 series. I started 3 series, and I read 5 books towards those 3 series. And for the series that I finished, I read 3 books in that series. I also read 2 book club books. One was for this month and one was for a future month. And I did not read the 2 that I needed to read for May. Instead, I read one that's for like October. I don't know. Don't ask me. It's just what I had on hand, and I ended up driving to Texas instead of flying like we were originally going to. If you've been following me, you've heard all this. And since I was in the car, I just grabbed what books on CD I had available from the library. I had 2, and that's what I took with me. Okay, then for my devotional reading, I finished 3 books, all in print. One of those was the Bible. And also I read 2 mysteries that were mysteries that I had intended to read for March Mystery Madness. I already had them checked out, so I just went ahead and listened to those early in the month. So that's kind of my totals in a nutshell. So let's just go over the books. Now, I mentioned that I listened to 5 Amanda Flower books, and I had one other book by her checked out that I did not read. I was going to have to read this in print. This is book 2 in the Appleseed Creek Mysteries, and I didn't get to this one. So I will not be talking about that one today. But what I did read were 5 books in the Amish Candy Shop Mysteries. 3 of the full-length novellas and 3 of the full-length novels, and then 2 novellas. So I hope I can get these in the right order. I had read or listened to the first book a couple of years ago, and it's called Salted Caramel, I think, and I really enjoyed it, but I decided to read a different one of her series last year, and they were similar enough that I didn't want to mix them up, so I put this one off till this year. I had hoped to get all the way through the series up to the newest one, which comes out, or may have just come out, or it comes out in May, one or the other. But I ran out of Hoopla Barrows. That's the first time in a long time I have run out. Usually I have at least a couple left over that I apply to the next month. But what happened was in March, I think I had 1 or 2 left, and I forgot to use them. So I didn't have any to kind of roll over. They don't roll over. You have to actually use them. So I didn't have any that I had checked out from the previous month that, I could use. So ended up running out. But then I realized that my daughter has a Hoopla account that she has not used in years. So I took my old phone and I signed out on my Hoopla on that phone and signed into hers. I asked her permission, and I signed into hers, and I was able to listen to a couple more. Well, really, I just listened to one more, but it was one that I wouldn't have gotten to listen to had I not had that opportunity, so it was good. Okay, so here's what I listened to then. I'm trying to think if I have these in the right order. I think this is book 2, Lethal Licorice. This is the large print edition. This is the only one of this book I could get from the library, and it didn't really matter. I just wanted to have something physical to show you. Then that's the 4th one. Number 3 is Premeditated Peppermint, and then number 4 is Toxic Toffee. Then there's a 3.5 and a 4.5. 3.5 is Criminally Cocoa, and it was a little Christmas novella, and that was cute. Oh, actually, or was it? I want to say Premeditated Peppermint is also Christmas. Oh, I know. Criminally Cocoa was from a different perspective. There is an Amish girl who works at the candy shop, and she hasn't been baptized in the Amish church yet, so I think she's considered in her Rumspringa. So she goes with the main character to New York to help her with a filming of a television show, and it's all from her perspective, that the novella Criminally Cocoa. I really enjoyed that, seeing it from a different perspective. Then book 4.5 is something about butterscotch. Botched butterscotch, I think. So I listened to both of those. They're all on Hoopla, thankfully, and even the novellas. Sometimes the short stories and novellas are not on audio, but these are, and I really enjoyed them. It was a fun thing fun series to get to. So that made 5 books for Amanda Flower. Now I also listened to 3 Amish books by Beverly Lewis. 2 of these I own. This hardcover in the middle I don't own. That's a library copy. I had listened to the first book in the series, the first 2 last year for Amish in April. The first one is The Fiddler, and then the next one is The Last Bridesmaid? No. Something about a bridesmaid. Maybe it's just The Bridesmaid. I had forgotten some of the character names, so I actually don't remember if any of the characters here were in those first 2 books. I'm not even sure. But that just goes to show that you could really read any of these. You could pick one up and not have to read or have read the other books in the series. They can really stand alone. So The Guardian I thought was very good. I enjoyed that a lot. And then The Secret Keeper, as I recall, I liked even more. I think, I'm trying to even remember the synopsis of each one. But yeah, all were very enjoyable. And then The Last Bride is the last book in that series, and I'm glad that I got these finished. I didn't get to any other Beverly Lewis books. I had high hopes of maybe reading at least one of her standalones, but I didn't get to it. And like I said earlier, they'll be there when I get ready to read them. But I don't know if I'll get to any more of those this year, because each month I kind of have a different theme going, so I can't promise that I will get any more Amish books read this year, but we shall see. I also read the debut novel of a brand new Amish author of Amish fiction, as she likes to say. Her name is Deborah Torres, and her first book is coming out on or around May 20th, and it's called The Forbidden Gift. I thought it was very, very good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a real page turner. Once I got past the first chapter and kind of saw where things were going, I just couldn't hardly put it down. I read it in a couple of sittings, and I thought it was fantastic. So I did an interview with Deborah on my channel, and if you didn't see it, I will link it down below. I hope that you will watch that, and I hope that you will order her book whenever you have the opportunity. The night of the interview, she did get it put on to Goodreads, so it is there. You can go ahead and mark it to read, and you'll see I have not got much of a review on there at this moment. I just wrote something really quick, and I need to go back and write a bigger review. But we also chatted about it in the interview, and I hope that you will put that book on your TBR. And don't wait till next year, Amish in April. Read it as soon as you can. It's really, really good. Okay, so then I also started another Amish, actually I started 2 Amish series, and I got 3 of one of them done, and all of 3 of these are on Hoopla, and then no more of these are on Hoopla until you get to book 25. What is up with that? I don't understand, but I'm not going to read 25 until I read some more books in the series. But this is the Sugar Creek Amish Mysteries. These are published by Guidepost. They have multiple authors. The first book is Blessings in Disguise by Nancy Mell. The second book is Where Hope Dwells by Elizabeth Ludwig. And the third book is The Buggy Before the Horse by Tricia Goyer. Now, the premise of this kind of follows a trope that I have read before in Amish fiction, where someone who is either Amish or not Amish owns a business that sells Amish merchandise, and then they die and leave it to someone who is not Amish. So that person then comes and has to decide if they're going to run the store or if they're going to sell it or whatever. Of course, they invariably end up staying, running the store, and learning the Amish way of life. Whether they ever join the Amish church or not, they usually don't, but I think it probably happens. So this series follows that trope, but it is a little different. I mean, I would consider these cozy mysteries, but these are underlying faith-based, so that makes them a little bit different than your average cozy mystery, like the Amanda Flower books that I just showed you. These are not faith-based. These are clean, but not faith-based. And so I really did enjoy these. There is also a possible budding romance between the storekeeper and an Amish, a young Amish bachelor. So that kind of gives me a hint. I don't have this feeling that the Amish bachelor will change and become not Amish. I have a feeling almost that the storekeeper might change. I don't know. That's my prediction. We shall see. Anyway, I really enjoyed these, and like I said, the first three are on Hoopla on audio, and unless you want to skip from 3 to 25, then you'll have to read the rest in print. I'm hoping that they will. The rest of them will eventually get put onto Hoopla. One more Amish book is Falling to Pieces by Vanetta Chapman. My sister sent me this. I had originally kind of thought maybe I'd try to read it in print. I ran out of time, and so I listened to this last night or yesterday on Scribd, and it was great. I really, really enjoyed it. She's about to read, I think, the third book. She's already read the second one, and she showed me a photo of a book haul where she had just ordered some books, and she had the third one. So I'm excited that she's getting through the series. I think there's only 3 in this trilogy. Obviously, if it's a trilogy, there's just 3, but I don't know that there's going to be any more or not. This is interesting because this is also a cozy mystery. It's faith-based, but there is a murder, I believe, and there is at least a death, now that I'm thinking. Yeah, so definitely. And in these books, I think there might have been one murder somewhere along the way, but not necessarily in every book is there a murder. So that makes them a little cozier than, than other cozy mysteries. So this I thought was very, very good. It's the pacing is great. Things move along. It's light, but it's got some difficult topics. There is a character with health issues, like a child, and so there's some discussion about that. And anyway, I thought it was really good. Now I hope I'm not mixing. Now that I say that, am I mixing that up with one of the other books? I think it's in this one. That's the danger when you read this many Amish books in a short amount of time. It is possible to get them confused. And the other book that I listened to on audio, not that it's an Amish book, but it has the word Amish in the description. So it popped up when I was just looking for Amish books to add to my TBR. And I thought, oh, I have that book. And I looked in my library, had it on CD. It is Friendship Bread by Darian G. Now, I've been pronouncing her name G, but the audiobook narrator pronounced it G, so we're going with that. And this was really good. Now, the reason the word Amish came up is in the book, they describe the friendship bread as Amish friendship bread. But a couple of times in the book, they do say that it's called that, but there has not been any proven connection that the actual recipe ever originated or came from the Amish, an Amish group. So there's that disclaimer. But this was just a really good book about friendship, family relationships, healing old wounds, getting past tragedies, moving on. And I just really, really enjoyed it. I think at first I thought there's not going to be any foul language in this, but I think there was one character who was kind of shady anyway. And I think there was one foul word, and maybe a couple of other times when there was just some light cussing. So be prepared for that one word. But other than that, it was clean, and there was not any foul language other than, I think, just that one time. So, it's pretty safe for the listening ears, and I really enjoyed it. I'm going to hang on to this. There's at least, I think on my shelf, I've got at least one other book and maybe 2 books by this author. And this is set in a town called Avalon. And the book I have that I think comes later is the Avalon Scrapbooking Society. I don't think it's necessarily a series, but I think that either book could probably stand alone, but I think there's definitely going to be some connections. So I have that book as well. I haven't checked to see if my library has that one on CD or not, but if it does, I will be getting that pretty soon at some point. All right, so I mentioned the Booktube spin. I finally read my Booktube spin pick from round one, News from Thrush Green. I've been a long time wanting to read this. This was on my Stackmas tree from 2019, and I hadn't ever gotten it done, and I'm really glad that I got it done. This, I think, was my favorite so far of the 3 Thrush Green books that I've read. This is book 3 in the series, and I vaguely remember some of the characters, but because I was new to the series and that was the early books, they didn't really stick with me completely. And so as I started reading this, there were a couple of characters I remembered, but some of the other side characters I thought, I think they were in those other books. And I need to go back now and maybe kind of skim through those first 2 books and just refresh myself so that I can just get their backstories again and then, then move on. So the next misread book I am going to read was my Booktube spin pick for round 2, but it's the first book in the Caxley Chronicles, which is a 2-book duology that I think are connected with the Fair Acre series, which is totally different characters. So I can go ahead and read the Caxley Chronicles without having to go back or read any more of those. I had 2 mysteries that I had wanted to read for March Mystery Madness that I got to at the beginning of the month. I had Eggs Benedict Arnold by Laura Childs. This one I liked better than the first one. And then I had The Woman Who Walked in Sunshine by Alexander McCall Smith. I think this one I did not like as much as some of the previous books, as I recall. I did listen to 2 other books from this series in March, and so I may be getting them mixed up. And I listened to 2 book club books. The one for April was The Huntress. I wasn't a fan of this. Just about everybody else at book club loved it. I wasn't a fan of it. There was a lot of foul language and just a lot of dark stuff. And, you can expect that from a World War II novel, but it wasn't my kind of book at all. This one really wasn't either, but there was a lot of dark stuff and some foul language, but yet it was lighter. I don't know. This one was more enjoyable. And this is book 16 in the Dave Robichaux series by James Lee Burke. Never read any books by this author or in this series. And I think I would like to go back and read some more of these. Despite the fact that it's kind of gritty, I just there was something about it that kind of pulled me in, and I only listened to an abridged version of this, but I'm curious about the series and the main characters and everything. Okay, then for I think I already mentioned the Get Serious About Series Challenge. What I finished was the Beverly Lewis series. For the middle grade or YA trilogy project, I read the 3rd book in the Luck Ugly series by Paul Durham. I listened to this all in one day on the 1st of April, and I was getting ready for my trip. I was packing and all that, and so a lot of it didn't stick with me. I may have to listen to this one again, but I did finish it. I listened to the 3rd book, All for One, of the Alex and Eliza trilogy by Melissa De La Cruz. This is about Alexander and Eliza Hamilton, and I knew going into it that there was some infidelity, and now I'm not a Hamilton junkie or anything, but I knew that there was some infidelity in their marriage, and this is where that's addressed, and I thought the author did a great job in addressing that and how she wrote about it. I thought it was very good. And then I picked up the middle book in the Testing trilogy by Joelle Charbonneau. This was very good. If you like books like The Hunger Games and stuff, then this is a series that I think you would enjoy. It's a dystopian series set in futuristic America, which is now not America anymore. It's some other Commonwealth of something. I don't even know. But I enjoyed that. And I had hoped to maybe get to the 3rd one, but I didn't. And so I will get to it this month. And then for my devotional reading, I already mentioned that I finished reading the Bible in 90 days. So I will do a separate video on my experiences with that and where I got that reading schedule and everything to do with that. And I finished another Journey magazine. I also finished More Than a Carpenter by Josh McDowell and Sean McDowell. We're reading this for Sunday school, and I went ahead and decided to just read ahead. We've been taking it real slow, and some weeks we don't get to it and all that, but I just wanted to go ahead and get it done. I have been hovering at about 12 on my currently reading list for most of the year, and I'm really ready to just kind of start moving some more of those books off. There are 6 books on there right now that I carried over. Only one of them was a book that I started in March, and the rest I started in January. I just haven't been making progress on those because they didn't fit with the other readathons that I was doing. But I have been continually working on my devotional books. I did finish Embraced by Lisa Turkhurst. I really enjoyed this. It's very real. There is a little bit of what I would call raw in here. It's just very emotional, and she's very honest about her life and things. So I know that one of my subscribers or commenters told me that there had been some controversy about her, and some people are not reading her because of some different things. And I looked into all of that, and I honestly didn't see anything that really gave me any red flags about reading her devotional book. And I honestly, from what I read, I felt more of a red flag from the opponents than I did about her. So I feel confident that her books are fine to read, and I would recommend that one. It's a very good devotional book. So then that is it. I already mentioned this one. This was very good as well. Very well researched. It is about Josh McDowell's journey from being kind of a atheist, agnostic, to really digging into historical records and talking to people and researching and coming to the realization that Jesus Christ is the Son of God, and then later becoming a Christian. And then he really opens up about his past and some of the things that happened in his earlier life, people he had to forgive, and it's just a powerful book. I really, really enjoyed it. I would highly recommend it. I mentioned in my May TBR that one of my goals was going to be to really work to finish a lot of the things that I've been just carrying on my currently reading list and have been working on. So, sorry if there was a glitch there. It just warned me that my time limit had reached the end and it started a new video. So I apologize about that. Anyway, my goal was to read and finish as many of the books that have been carrying over from month to month. And I think I showed you all of the ones that had been carrying over that I didn't expect to finish in April. And this one I did expect to finish in April, and I didn't. It's really about the only thing I expected to try to get back to and finish that I didn't, and it's The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. So I have picked this back up now today, and I may get it done today. I was already about half done, and I am listening to it at a 2x speed. If not today, then by tomorrow. I want to get that one off my list. It's a book club book for later in the year, and because I've already started it, I've literally borrowed it twice already prior to this on Hoopla. So now I've borrowed it again on Hoopla, and so I've used 3 borrows on it. I will finish it this time. Anyway, that is everything that I read for the month of April. Let me know what you read for the month of April, and did you participate in Amish in April? I am still getting around to watching different videos and things. I haven't even been on Instagram this month to see what has been posted there, but I will catch up with that. And now I've got to move on into Book a Day in May, and after that, I'm going to kind of relax a little bit. May is kind of the end of my big challenges, and then I'll just have fun. But don't get me wrong, it is really fun to do challenges and to host challenges, and I want to tell you guys how much I appreciate you participating. So that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a great day. Read a good book, and God bless you.